Hello, everyone, and welcome to the one-shot of Urban Shadows. Before we begin presenting all of the characters and talking about deaths, I want to introduce you to one of the systems that I use, and that is also recommended alongside the X card that is recommended in Urban Shadows, is the Veils and Lines system. Basically, if it's to avoid subjects that could be traumatic or problematic to some people or triggering. Lines are basically subjects we won't have in the game at all, and veils are things that can happen to the characters, just people aren't necessarily okay with going into the descriptions. The usual ones that I use are the ones you can see on the screen right now. Do you have anything you'd like to add or change to the lines and veils that we have currently?
Those seem fine to me.
All seems fair.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Then let's have everyone talk a bit about their character, the moves you selected, the depths you have, and who you are, and assign all of the debts. Benjamin Lange, do you want to begin?
Sure. So I'm Benjamin Lange. I'm an inspector in the Landspolizei of Berlin. I've been a police officer for many years. I'm still relatively young for my rank, but I'm not a rookie by any means. I am playing the Aware playbook, which means I'm a mortal who has become aware of the supernatural relatively recently, and I'm trying to investigate it. So I've taken the my basic playbook move is Snoop, which means I can keep an eye out for trouble and get some advantages if I see what's coming ahead of time. The two optional moves I've taken are Did Your Homework and Expert Marksman, which basically capitalize on the fact that I have a good mind attribute. Expert Marksman just lets me use mind instead of blood for unleashing with a firearm. Did Your Homework lets me put a face to a name using mind and may give me debts if I get a 10+. The sort of fictional explanation for that is that I was part of the Berlin SWAT team, and we got called out on a what turned out to be some sort of specter or poltergeist who had just murdered somebody at one of the universities in the city. And I was the marksman for the team, so I was away from the rest of the group who was charging in. And the poltergeist was basically beating the crap out of them. And I managed to deduce where the invisible ghost was located and shoot him a couple of times. And that was my first encounter with the supernatural. So I want to protect the city from the supernatural, and because I realize that most people have no protections whatsoever, most of the mortals, and they need help if they're going to stay safe.
All right. So you, we're going to introduce the characters as in a scene to get that they're having together. So you all know each other. We're going to have Nick DeVere. Come to see you, Nick DeVere. You have been you've been sent on a job for your boss, and you're coming to get the help of Benjamin Lange. What is that? What is that job? And then once you've described this, you can describe your character too.
I think my patron has ordered me to deliver a threat to someone that they are interested in having serve them.
Okay. All right. We could say, for example, that he's going to threaten a mage who owes him something, and you have to find that mage and deliver said threat. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So and it's a good thing. Both. Yeah. So tell us a bit about Nick DeVere.
Sure. Nick is the Tainted. He is essentially an aspiring writer who sold his soul to a demonic entity of mysterious power and sort of unknown influence, trying to save his brother from a terminal illness. And his brother recovered from the terminal illness, but he didn't read the fine print of the contract very well, and his brother was later killed in a car crash. So now his soul is in the custody of this demonic patron who uses Nick to broker deals and deliver threats whenever they want him to do something.
All right. What is this demonic patron's name?
Raziel.
All right. Okay. So, both of you meet up at the start of this adventure, and every character is supposed to have debts to other either player characters or non-player characters. So, what are the debts you have for each other? Benjamin?
So I have a debt that says that I've been basically manipulating somebody, and that to help me out, and that because of that I owe them a debt now. I'm going to sort of give that some fictional flavor in that for me it's not a personal debt that I was personally manipulating somebody, but that the group in the police that I used to be part of, which was investigating the supernatural, I think my predecessor in that group was basically twisting your arm, Nick, and that I'm trying to, I need to make up for that. So I owe you a debt.
And Nick, what about what's your debt towards what's the debt move you've selected for Benjamin Lange?
I think that I am protecting Benjamin Lange from a dark power.
Okay.
I have information that another demon is angling to build its influence in the police, and is trying to manipulate Benjamin into signing away his soul.
Okay. All right. And does he owe you a debt for that?
He owes me 2 debts.
Okay, so basically, like, we start off this game with Benjamin owing Nick 2 debts. All right, so your characters set out to find this mage character that is supposed to is being threatened by Raziel, and you arrive at a house, the house where he's supposed to live. Find the door broken down. Find that inside there are there's a street gang that you recognize as being a pack of vampires that are scattered throughout different rooms in a deep state of hurt. And finally, you arrive at the in another room where out of which is a flashing light is coming, and you find not the mage you're looking for, but Nicholas Hobsbawm here. Nicholas, who is your character and what are you doing here?
Well, he is a fairly young man for a mage, in his 30s or something.
Mm-hmm.
He started out as a mage. Really, he bumped into it by accident, almost. He bought a grimoire on the flea market. He thought some kind of these spells sound kind of nice, and he tried it, and apparently he had the power. So while he started experimenting with this magic, he was not really aware that this would mean pointing a big red arrow at him, like, this is a man of power, supernatural community. And now he's while he thought it would make his life easier, he's now bit of into over his neck into trouble all the time.
So he's not quite over his head; he's just over his neck.
Yeah, over his head. Sorry.
No. It's good. I thought it was like an interesting twist on that saying.
Yeah, it's in Dutch. It would be said like that, but yeah, I think the sentiment is good because he's been investigating magic, and for the last 10 years he's been going integrating himself into the magical community, trying to find as many more powerful allies as he finds himself in more trouble than he's bargained for. What is he doing in that specific place? He was actually he had actually made an appointment with that mage, a kind of co-workers going co-mages get together, and he found a place as you just described it, and of course he's going to investigate it, because if someone is going after mages, he should know about it because he's used to that kind of thing.
What is the mage's name, and why did you have? What was the appointment for? What were both of you hoping to get from this appointment?
His name is Salahuddin. His name is Salahuddin.
Okay.
We were noticing bless you there. Yeah, that sounds like she's sick as well. Salahuddin and I noticed kind of dark force gathering more energy or power in Berlin, and we were actually going to get together to compare notes on what's happening. What did you feel? What did you notice? To become to get on the same level of information.
All right. Okay. So describe. So you've got to choose debt for the as a wizard. So you got to give one to each of the other two players, and when you give one to the other players, they're gonna give you one. They're going to like tell you what they've chosen for you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my debts is who is my go-to for trouble. Wait, other two? Aren't we with 3 players?
You only select 2 of these, and the third one is for a non-player character, an NPC.
Okay. So then just look at what the one I chose. Someone is helping you keep your demons at bay. I would say that's Nick de Veer.
Okay. Yeah, he's he would know a lot about keeping demons at bay, knowing that he is so close with them.
Yeah. He sounds like the perfect person for that. So I assign him a debt.
All right. So you owe Nick a debt. Nick, you can write down that you've got a debt for that he has a debt in you. Nick, what's your what's the thing you've selected for Nicholas?
My other debt is someone is trying to save you and keeps suffering for it. You owe them 2 debts.
Okay. All right. So both of you are trying to keep each other's demons at bay. It's just that like one of you is more successful than the other.
So Nick, you owe me 2 debts.
Yes.
And now for what's the relationship between Nicholas Hobsbawm and Benjamin Lange?
Benjamin Lange.
I'm pronouncing it the German way. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that was my intention.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I read it also. Someone is your go-to when you get into trouble. You owe them 2 debts. So that's my relation with Benjamin Lange.
We're having a sort of debt triangle here, where everybody is owing
Every debt. Isn't that supposed to?
It's. I feel like it's more somebody is owing a debt to a second person who's owing debt to the third person who's owing debt to the first one, but not like a circle instead. But it's fine. Like it's not a problem. And Benjamin Lange, what did you select for Nicholas?
For Nicholas, I have one that says he told me his secrets, which I have not divulged. So he owes me 2 debts. So that's a total of 4 that he owes me.
Oh,
okay.
So we do have some of that spiral going on with me because I owe 3 to Nick, and Nicholas owes me 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So. So your characters are all in this sanctum, and surrounded by groaning vampires who's slowly starting to emerge from the slumber caused by their wounds. And I think because we were talking about darkness earlier, we now would be a good time to use the session move for the session intro. At the beginning of every session, announce which character your character trusts the least out of the other characters. The player will spotlight a faction for your character that isn't already marked. You mark that faction, you tell the Master of Ceremonies, that's me, about a rumor or conflict that you've heard about that faction, building on previous established information, if you'd like, and roll with the faction. On a 10+, you're prepared for the conflict. We'll see depending on how you roll with those factions. So, let's start with Benjamin. Who do you trust least out of the 2 player characters?
Let's see. I think I trust Nick the least.
Okay. Typical tainted. The tainted one is the one that is the least trusted. So, Nick, choose a faction to be that will be spotlighted for Benjamin to mark.
I will go with Wild, I guess.
Okay, that can be what you were talking about. That could be, for example, the demon who's trying to lay a hand on the police force. But that's up to Benjamin. Benjamin, what's a rumor or conflict that you've heard about the Wild faction?
So I think that it is definitely what you were just talking about. There's a demon trying to get a hand on the police force. The unit that I was in that was investigating the supernatural, we got shut down by our superiors because of the influence of this demon. And I don't know exactly how he's tying into the police force yet, but he's doing something.
All right. Okay. So now you roll plus wild, and hope that you roll well.
All right. I'm not exactly sure I know how to do this correctly, but
you yes, there isn't exactly a thing to do that. Well,
so I'm just going to roll one of the other moves that's attached to the factions, and that should do the right dice at least.
Yeah, exactly. All right, succeeds partially. So on a 7 or 9, you're neck deep in it. You owe someone in that faction a debt, so you owe someone in the Wild faction a debt, and someone in that faction owes a debt to you. On a miss, yeah, okay. So are you already involved enough with said demon that you owe them debts?
I don't think I owe that demon a debt. I think it's a different person in the Wild faction. I do.
All right. Who? In this case, we're going to have to either invent a character or use Raziel or Nick, who are both in the Wild faction.
So I think Nick owes me a debt, and I owe his patron a debt.
Okay. All right. I'll write it down. Okay. Nick, who do you trust the least?
I think, considering the situation we've just found ourselves in, Nick trusts Nicholas the least.
Okay. Nicholas, can you highlight a faction with Nick, please?
Yes. Just where do I do that, or just say it?
Yeah, you just say a faction that is going to be important in this game, and this way Nick just marks that faction already at the start of the game, and there's going to be conflict in regards to that session to that faction. So, for example, if you want to say somebody's attacking mages, you could say that there's you could highlight the power faction.
Yeah, I was thinking that was yeah. I mark power.
No, you don't mark anything.
I know he marks power. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
you mark
I
power.
like power.
Okay. So Nick, you're marking power. Describe the faction and roll for the faction power. Describe what the conflict is and roll for the faction power.
Yep. I'm just looking up the factions because I'm not sure exactly what power is.
Power is people who are very strong. So you've got humans who have achieved extraordinary power. So you've got the wizard and the oracle, who are able to see the future. But you also have the immortal inside of the extended thing. So like people who live forever. And I think the hallowed, which is a religious figure that has psychic control over his followers. So basically, it's like people who are very who have like a lot of power, were usually of the supernatural kind.
I think maybe there's a priest who's just come into town who is calling himself some kind of demon hunter, and it's not clear what kind of power he has, but he appears to have some.
So It's like it's not sure. I'm not sure if he would fit inside of humanity or power based on what you described. Does he have an extremely large following of yeah, for example?
Excuse me. I got my sound got off for I think the last minute or two. Can you repeat it shortly? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Where we were establishing that the person from the power faction, which is causing a problem, is a priest that's arrived in town, calling himself a power hunter. And we were talking about the fact that in order to fit inside of the power faction, that priests would need they would need like to have to be like one of the hallowed, to have like a power over a large group of people in order to fit in this category. Is that the case?
Is that question directed to me or to?
It's to Nick DeVere, because he's the one describing the this conflict. Nick?
Yeah, that would definitely work.
Okay. What is this? What is the priest's name? And what religion are they attached to?
I think he's an American sort of evangelical preacher.
Okay.
Who his name is John Shepherd, because he's not very subtle.
All right. And last of all, we have Nicholas.
I think I rolled.
Oh yeah, you do. Never mind. Go ahead and roll. Okay, so that's a partial success, which means you have a debt to one person in the power faction, and one person in the power faction has a debt to you. It has to, and it's probably related to what you just described. So one of those two people is probably going to be Shepherd or someone in that specific faction. You can also choose Nicholas or Saladin, who are both in the power faction.
Yeah, I think Saladin owes me a debt because I retrieved an item of power for him. Although he doesn't know it, but I was acting on instructions from my patron.
So maybe that's why your patron has wants wants you to come back to threaten him and get him to pay for his debt. All right. Can we say that the object in question is in the room you're standing in right now? What is it, and what does it do?
It is it's a candle that, according to rumor, when you light it, it lets you see invisible things and unseen things.
All right. Yeah. So apparently, Saladin isn't here, and he left one of his prized possessions that he almost lost his soul for behind. Okay. And who do you owe a debt to in the power faction?
If you'd like an NPC, I have in my backstory that my wife is associated with a faction that I don't know about.
That could be interesting, yeah.
So both of you can decide and describe together why she would be in the power faction.
So I gave her a name, Sophia Meyer, but I don't know what she's up to with the priest.
Okay.
And certainly my character doesn't know, but I don't have a strong opinion either.
All right. Written like this?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So would she be what's happening in regards to the crisis concerning John Shepard with Sophia? Nick.
I think, because she is an individual with power of her own, she's concerned that John Shepard might do something to destroy the sort of balance of power in the city, and so she's been keeping an eye on him. And I owe her a debt because she's given me some information about him.
Okay.
About where he is and what he's doing.
All right. That yeah. So you know like his area of influence and what you described that he was doing, which is gathering followers to hunt demons. All right. Last but not least, Nicholas Hobsbawm. You have who do you trust the least between Benjamin and Nick?
Well, if I see my debts, it would be Nick, because yeah, I'm not going to tell my secrets to people I don't trust. That looks a little bit stupid. No, I don't trust Nick, because even though he helps me and I try to help him, I don't trust his connection with this demon. I don't know when he's acting like in the interest of Nick, and when he's acting in interest of Raziel.
All right, Nick, mark a highlighted action for Nicholas, please.
How about mortality?
Mortality. Okay.
So what's the conflict there?
For me, with the conflict with mortality,
it's a conflict in the city, but it's uncertain whether you're linked to it or not, to what's happening.
I would say the conflict would be there are people, not only mages, disappearing, and for some reason no one seems to talk about it in the mortal faction. Like, if they're not awakened, it's almost if they don't notice they're gone.
Okay, so the conflict is that the disappearances of people from the power faction just seem to be covered up. That seems almost that it's covered up with specifically the mortality faction.
Yeah.
Let's see. I feel I'm not sure if that qualifies specifically as being a mortality, a crisis for mortality. Can you be more specific? Like, which group is completely unaware? We could say, for example, that Benjamin Lange's task force. Someone's been covering up the mage disappearances from that task force.
So that people from the task force are disappearing, or that they are covering up for the task force.
Yeah, they're covering it up for the task force, and so like someone is trying to keep these people in the dark specifically.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. There have been some strange disappearings from indeed the power faction, and the cops, the official forces, and especially then the SWAT force, is seemingly not really handling it at the moment. It's almost as if they don't notice them gone.
Okay. In this case, roll plus humanity. And mark it on your character sheet too.
Yeah, that's roll plus humanity. Yeah, mortality, you mean?
Yes, and that is also a partial success. So you also have an extra debt to someone in this faction, and someone has a debt to you. So currently we have Benjamin Lange, who is in the humanity faction, but we don't have anybody else. So that means we're probably going to have to create an NPC. All right, so let's start off with who do you owe a debt to?
I owe a debt to one of the co-workers of Benjamin Lange. Actually, for helping me find a hiding address, but he helped me cover up my paper trail, so you can hardly find me by mortal means.
Okay. What is this character's gender? We seem to be having like so far we have a lot of people with he him pronouns.
Yeah.
Apart from Sophia. So what is this person's name and gender?
Natalia.
Okay.
Yeah, Natalia. Well, I was going to say a really wrong name. It was the first thing it came in my head when I was thinking of German names. Natalia Peterson.
Okay. All right.
And she's older.
So you owe a debt to her, and who owes a debt to you?
Another one of the. Should I find another NPC?
Either that, or you can select Benjamin Lange for some reason.
Yeah, Benjamin Lange.
Okay, why?
As he became aware, I think it would be natural that he noticed a lot of more danger in the city than except normal things like gangs and that sort of thing. So I helped him create some wards. I put up some wards around his house to put basic demons that distract basic things of demons and that sort of thing.
Do a quick question. Do you yeah, there isn't yeah, okay. All right, so he owes you a debt. So Benjamin Lange, you can write this down. Okay.
Wait, which way does it go?
You owe me one debt.
Right, so you should write it down.
Yeah, you should write it down. Yeah. Sorry, you're right. Okay, so the three of you find yourself in the middle of this web of disappearing mages inside of the house of Saladin, and yeah, okay. I think that's a pretty good start. What are your characters going to? What are your characters doing right now? What do you do?
I want to keep an eye out for trouble in the immediate surroundings with the vampires. Can I use my snoop move?
All right. So for your snoop move, the trigger is when you keep an eye out for trouble, which is what you're doing. So go ahead and roll with mind.
Okay.
Okay, 10, it's a success. On a 10 plus, you hold free. And while you're here, you can spend your hold to ask me different questions.
Yeah, I see the list. I'll ask immediately what happened here recently.
Okay. There was a huge fight, and based on the wounds on the vampires, they were just fighting a mage. And yeah, it seems they've been burned by some elemental power, and they've been knocked out by a psychic power too. So that's what's happened here, and you don't know why they were here, but the place is sort of trashed. Okay.
Okay. I'll also ask who or what is not what they seem.
Is there anything that's not what they seem? Okay, yeah. So you start snooping around, and you find that there's like at some point you bump into this lamp, and the lamp says "ow," and you realize that the maid you came here to get transformed into a lamp in order to avoid the second group to break into his house. Do you have any other questions?
I think I'll save my last hold for the now.
Okay. The owl by the lamp was like very wasn't very loud. So you're the only one who's noticed this. Yeah. For the other so what are your characters going to be doing now?
I'm actually looking surprised. What? You two here? I'm asking them, what are you two doing here? At Nick, and yeah, especially at Nick, as Benjamin seems to be investigating. Too busy investigating.
I'm here to see Saladin. Why else would I be at his place?
Yeah, same here, but why are you here to see Saladin?
I've got a message for him.
A message for him. Well, I'm here. I was looking for him as well, but he seems to be disappeared. Do you know something about it? What was that message?
I said it was a message for him, not a message for you.
Well, that's fair enough. But the fact is, he isn't here. So if your message has... and then I see you two here, I cannot help but think that these two are connected.
Are the vampires all unconscious?
They're barely unconscious. They might awaken at any time. Basically, yeah, if you miss a move, I might get them to. If you roll 6 or lower on a move, I might wake them up.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to try and assess what Saladin is hiding from, and like what the second group after the vampires was, because I'm guessing that he took out the vampires, but somebody else came with them or behind them, and he's hiding from them.
Yes, that would be Nick and Benjamin, the people who just arrived, who just broke in just now. Because you passed through you guys passed through the broken down door. That does count as breaking in, just as technically.
Okay, so he's hiding from us deliberately. He's not hiding from some other force that was here.
Yeah, but I don't know if Benjamin has made you aware of this yet.
No, I am Benjamin. I'm.
Oh, sorry.
So I've spotted him, but I'm trying to decide if he's hiding from somebody other than us.
Well, right now there isn't anybody else who's conscious in the room that would need to be hiding from. So,
all right. Well, I came with Nick in order to help him deliver his message. So, I think I'm going to prod the lamp and say, "It's about time to show your face."
So the lamp quivers for a second, and then in a puff of smoke, Saladin appears, and he stumbles to the floor, and he has he's barely conscious. He has bite marks all over his body, some of which are pretty ugly, and he's bleeding profusely, and he turns to Nicholas and says, "Run," and then falls unconscious. So it's going to be hard to get him this to deliver him this message that you're trying to give him right now.
Okay. Alarmed, I immediately do what I always do in case of danger. I grab my grimoire. I will roll for channeling.
Okay, go ahead.
Where do I find channeling?
You just roll plus. Let's just give me 1 second. You are the wizard. I think you roll plus spirit. Yes. So just use one of the spirit moves, the usual ones, and we'll use that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is an 8. That is. So you hold 3 and you choose one from the list. You either take -1 until ongoing until you rest. You suffer 1 harm, which is armor penetrating, so like your armor doesn't count, or you mark corruption.
I'm gonna mark corruption, and I can hold 4 because
because your grimoire allows you to hold an extra amount.
It has extra spell slots, so to say.
Okay.
So I take elemental. Yeah, I take my 3 spells plus a double 1 on elementalism.
You don't. Okay, so first of all, you need to choose what spells you're able. Yeah, I think you already chose before that. And you hold 4 so that you can spend to activate those powers later during the scene.
I don't have to choose which one I hold.
No. You don't have to choose which ones you hold, but you choose only 3 that you know. There's only 3 spells that you're able to cast.
Yeah, I have those 3. It's teleportation, veil, and elementalism.
Yeah.
Runaway mage.
Right, but you don't have to allocate your hold to those yet until you actually are using it.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I'm holding the power, and I'm.
What does it look like when you're channeling?
I grab my book. My eyes become. A green light becomes to go a glow from my eyes. Really ominous, and you hear me just some kind of unknown language that is not really from this place. I mean, from Earth. You hear me whisper kind of weird things no one understands. And as I'm done channeling, wait, for example, teleportation. Can I take multiple persons with me, or?
No, it says you spend 1 hold to teleport yourself.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. I go to Saladin and I and I say to Nick and Benjamin, let's get this man out of here. These vampires are not dead at all, and something weird is happening here. We should go away as soon as possible.
All right. Okay. So you are trying. So I think you are. The vampires are awaking. We're starting to awaken, but since you are taking advantage of the fact that they're still somewhat unconscious, you are triggering the move escape a situation. So you roll with blood.
Can I also tell someone of the crew, like, take that object of power with you also, because we're at 3?
Yeah, you can. That is going to depend on your role, because you have, for example,
Okay.
one of the options for escaping a situation is you leave something important behind. So it's going to depend on your role what you're able to bring with you.
I rolled.
Okay, that's an 8. So on a hit, you get away. you have to choose two between you suffer harm during your escape, you end up in another dangerous situation, you leave something important behind, you owe someone a debt for your escape, and you give in to your base nature and mark corruption.
So I have to mark two, right? Well,
You have to choose two of these and putting them on Roll20.
yeah, I owe someone a debt. The one helping me carry Saladin outside.
Who? Is either Benjamin or Nick helping you?
Yeah, I'll throw Saladin in a fireman's carry.
Okay. All right. So you can mark that that Nicholas owes you a debt. And what's the other one that you select?
It was either get some harm or get in another dangerous situation.
All right. I think it would be fitting for you, like one of the vampires grows his nails and tries to grab at your leg as you're running away, and you can mark a single harm at the what are they? Yeah, at the feint move.
Yeah.
At the feint. Yeah. So you take feint harm, and you can and you got to describe what the harm is next to it by writing down like vampire claws. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I take. Can I have said that the other one took the object of power?
Yes, because you didn't select the option "leave something important behind." One of you took it, and since Benjamin was helping you, I suppose you're both escaping together. What is Nick doing when the vampires are waking up?
I am going to assume my demonic form.
Okay. Do you need to roll for that?
Yes, I roll with blood.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay, so I choose one, and I owe my patron a debt.
Oh, joy!
And actually, because I'm working a job for him, I get two of the things. So I choose demonic movement and armor +1, I think.
Okay. And your demonic movement is, what is your demonic movement? Describe your transformation for us, please.
Yeah, so I close my eyes for a second, and the air starts shimmering around me as though it's very hot. And then I open my eyes to reveal that my irises have turned to what looks like flame, and these huge white feathered wings open behind me, almost touching the ceiling.
Okay.
And small horns grow from my head.
All right. And you're now surrounded by waking vampires, but because you have new wings, you are that gives you the opportunity to trigger the move escape a situation. So you can roll for that.
I think first I'm going to grab a vampire by the throat, kind of hoist him up, and then just say, "Who sent you, scum?"
All right. So you are trying to. Let's see. You might be trying to figure someone out, or to persuade an NPC to tell you. It feels more like you're threatening, so that would be persuade an NPC. So roll with heart. The vampire aptly answers to you by saying, "Suck my blood."
You people are always charming. So I drop him on the floor and fly out.
All right. Then I'm going to have to ask you to roll for escape situation.
Yep.
Oh wow, you are Okay, and I thought the mage was good at leaving situations. On a 10+, you choose 1. You suffer harm during your escape. You end up in another dangerous situation. You leave something important behind. You owe someone a debt for your escape, and you give in to your base nature and mark corruption.
Yeah, these vampires are annoying me a little bit. I think I gave in to my base nature and just I roast them with a little bit of hellfire as I'm flying out.
Okay. All right, then mark corruption, and you hear their swearing from behind you as they swear they are going to kill you for that. Okay. So what do you what do you do now?
So Benjamin and I are still carrying Saladin, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying bring them to my car. Bring him to my car. We've got to get out of here. We've got to get some help. Let's go to my sanctum.
I'll take the Saladin to the car, but I want to suggest a different healer that I know, and I want to put a face to a name. But
I feel no. Finding a healer is hit the streets.
Oh, okay.
Which is a faction move, which gives you the opportunity to mark a faction that you haven't marked already. If when you sit, so you got to decide which faction you are getting the help from. When you hit the streets to get what you need, name who you're going to and roll with their faction. On a hit, they're available and have the stuff. On a 7 or 9, you'll have like problems.
Should I put a face to a name to make up a new NPC?
Let's see. Just give me 1 second. I don't. We haven't had someone. I suppose. I feel like probably like one of the NPCs that we've already established could be useful in this situation. Like anybody from Sophia, John Shepard could be helpful. Raziel might be inclined to heal someone. To heal Saladin in exchange for more debts.
Right. I was thinking of somebody in the power faction, but not my wife.
There's John Shepard. He's a demon hunter. He'd be very happy to have in his debt someone who made a deal with a demon.
But is he a healer though? That's the question.
You'd have to. He could heal people, but you'd have to roll hit the streets to see if he has if he's got the stuff required to do so.
Okay, I'd be willing to go to him then. Can I still do the? I have my you did your homework move, which is when I put a face to a name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I? Yeah, you can you do it, but my sanctum has an apothecary, so I would be able to do some healing without going to this weird figure. I don't really know.
The moves. The game suggests that healing wounds usually comes from hitting the streets when it comes to how the players are trying to do this, and but I'm going to allow either option. I guess it's more a question of how whether or not we want to introduce more characters. I feel like Benjamin, it would give you the choice is up to you, depending on whether you want to mark this faction and involve the other NPCs in this, which could be interesting.
In character,
Yeah.
let's say in character, I'm saying I have an apothecary. I probably will be able to heal him. That's what I'm telling. In my sanctum, we probably could heal him.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the NPC anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and you can totally put a face to a name because you might not have met him yet. So go ahead and roll for this first, and second you'll have to roll for hit the streets.
All right, so here is my did your homework.
Okay. Ta-ta-ta. On a hit, you know a dangerous secret about them or their political machinations. All right. What is what do you know about?
So I think I know that. Wait, hang on. What's his name?
Shepard.
Shepard is. He's got a past dispute with Raziel, and he is sort of in town to work on that. He knows that Raziel has some sort of connection in town. He may not know about Nick specifically, but he is in town for that.
All right. Okay.
One thing I don't know about my move, do I still get the basic results from...
Yes, I'm going to say you that you get the basic results.
Which I don't have in front of me.
On a hit, you know their reputation. The game master tells you what most people know about them. I think what was established earlier when we were doing the move at the start of the session. You also know that he is really passionate about his work as a priest, but he also but he's known for his taste of French wine. That's what you know about him, and you haven't either triggered the miss or the 10+. So yeah, that's
okay.
good. And now
can I suggest he has a reputation as a healer?
Yeah, he might have a small reputation as a healer, but depending on how your hit the streets works, we'll see if there's we'll see more.
Right. Well, no, it doesn't mean necessarily that he'll help us, but that he is known for healing in general.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'll do the hit the streets with power.
Okay. So hit the streets on a 7 or 9. You choose one. Whoever you're going to is juggling with their own problems, and whatever you need is more costly than anticipated.
I will say that they are juggling their own problems.
Okay. You arrive. You arrive at the church. You arrive at Shepherd's Church to find that. Oh, that's going to be interesting. There's someone at the entrance of the church who is who's yelling at him, and Shepherd's followers are holding her back, and she's calling him by all sorts of names, and it only takes you a couple of seconds to recognize your wife.
Aha.
And so yeah, he's dealing with his own problems right now. I assume that Nick DeVere, you got into the same car as them.
Yes.
Okay, you're all together. So yeah, all three of you are at this scene. what does tell me? What does a shepherd's HQ look like? Is it a church? Is it another sort of building that's been repurposed? Where are all of his followers?
I think
Go ahead.
maybe it used to be like a warehouse that he's bought and is having renovated into a sort of mega church.
Okay, all right. There are there's a very large warehouse in Berlin. At towards the north, there's a docking area with with like a lot of container crates and things getting like shipped in and out of Berlin through the river every day through here. And yeah, so you're towards the north of Berlin. This is where you find him, and he's dealing with his own problems. So what are you going to do? Specifically, Benjamin, how do you react to Sophia being here?
Well, I'm going to come out of the car, like trying to prop Saladin up and go, Sophia, what are you doing here?
And she she turns to you and she says, "Oh, nothing. What are you doing here?"
Oh, that's a good question.
Mind you, we still have a wounded man in our car.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of what my character says.
I have a question for Nick. How long does your devil transformation last?
I don't think there's a set duration.
Okay. Are you still sprouting? Did you get your flaming horns and your giant wings to come back inside of your body to fit in the car properly?
Yes.
Or
yeah, they went away as soon as I got out of the building.
All right.
I actually
Yes.
begin to move Saladin to the entrance, and actually just not caring about the conflict. I'm just saying, look, whatever it is, you can see here, wounded man. I'm a bit wounded as well. I heard this is the place where everyone gets some kind of healing.
Ah, yes, of course. Come in. And Sophia yells at you that you really shouldn't trust this guy. And Shepard is going to ask if one of you could help keep her away while he's going to do his work, and he steps inside after you, after Nicholas. Nick and Benjamin, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna like walk up to Sophia and be like at a loss for words, both trying to explain my involvement in the supernatural and trying to rationalize her involvement. It's both of them have sort of taken me for a loop.
Yeah.
Can I roll to figure someone out to see if I can like put the pieces together that, you know, maybe I've had some hint that she was involved and didn't realize it until now?
Yes, I think that would be fitting here.
Okay.
When you're trying to figure someone out, roll with mind. What's your results? A nice 8. Okay, we're getting lots of successes today. On a 7 or 9, they hold 1 on you as well, and you hold 2. So, while you're interacting with them, you can spend to ask a question. To ask a question. So you've got 2 that you can ask, and yeah. So she starts off. She starts off saying, "Listen, this is nothing. This dude, he's just he's causing he's causing problem around this neighborhood, and I just wanted to like have a talk with him, but he's this weird guru, and he has all of those followers, and I can't get to him. It's fine. I'll drop it."
So I think I'm going to ask let's see, what is your character's beef with no, actually that's not what I want to ask.
That could get you some nice answers.
I think first I want to ask, how could I get your character to explain your nature to me? And I think some of that is I'm going to already know some of this. So I'm going to say, wait, does this mean your dreams, they meant something more serious?
Okay. You can get and the answer to that question, to the question to the question how can you get her to explain explain what she is you have to reveal the same amount about yourself. That's the price you've got to pay for her to answer that, and you have to do it first because she's going to start denying what's the link that her dreams have any significance.
Okay, so I'm going to say, I've been dealing with these crazy forces ever since just after I met you, after your great uncle was killed. Were you really involved from the start?
No, I wasn't, but I guess we're in the same. I guess if you're involved in the with all of this, I wasn't involved with what happened to with what's happening to you specifically, as far as I know. I have had dreams of the future and things like this, and I saw this shepherd, and he's having a very destructive influence on the city. All right. I think this conversation keeps happening, but we're going to cut to what Nick and Nicholas are doing. What are your characters doing now?
I followed Saladin into the church.
Okay. And Nicholas?
I bring Saladin to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we enter, and John Shepard is just leading us through some back room where there is some kind of table with where I can put Saladin on.
Okay.
And I just begin to what will it? So I'm going to go to John Shepard. What can you do for this man?
So Shepard tells you, well, I can. There's much that needs to be done. I can do something for his body, but it's going to be hard to do something for his soul, I'm afraid.
His soul.
Oh yes, yes. This one has this one has been tainted by the devil, I'm afraid.
Can I roll to figure him out to see if he's
Yes.
bullshitting me? Yes.
Yes. Okay, that is a miss. Yeah, if you're in their faction, okay. Oh, you're both in the power faction, so you can still ask one question, but yeah. So you can ask one question out of the list. Do you? Okay, let me send to you. Who's pulling your character's string? What's your beef with blank? What's your character hoping to get from blank? How could I get your character to blank? What does your character worry might happen? And how could I put your character in my debt?
So what were the first two?
They're all on Roll20, but the first two are who's pulling your character's strings and what's your character's beef with blank.
I think what worries you about, and I think at this moment he's talking about our involvement in magic.
No, like what worries you? This isn't okay. Okay. Are you asking this as a player to me, or are you?
Yeah, the kind of question I wanted to ask is, are you referring to his? And I begin to his hobby, giving him a knowing look, and what worries, or are you talking about something more serious about him?
I'm referring to the fact that he points to the candle and he says that he has made a pact with a devil in order to get this item, and this I cannot allow. But I might be able to help save his life. He is bleeding a lot. Yes, I might be able to straighten him up, get him back in the proper direction. He turns to you and he thanks you for giving him the opportunity to just leave the situation that was happening outside. It was really unsightly.
What were the penalties for my miss? What were the penalties for my miss?
I should trigger a move for this, so that's just me. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Oh, I know. Nick DeVere, Shepard finally finally turns his gaze to you, and immediately you feel like you're in a consecrated place, and it starts to burn. Your flesh is starting to sizzle, and your skin is starting to crack. So I'm going to ask you to roll. Sorry. Yes. Things are getting real, and you're probably going to need to keep your cool soon.
Okay.
So what does your how does your character react? By the way, you take 2 harm for this.
Okay.
Yeah, and what is your character going to? Yeah, what do you do now? When while you're starting to burn up?
I look as though I have no idea what's happening, and am completely innocent.
Okay, so what's the situation you want to avoid in this case? You want to avoid being seen as someone who has pact ties with the devil on purpose?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and roll plus spirit. Oh no. So John's followers start to gather around you, and they are pointing at you and saying, "The devil walks among us." And you can feel your horns starting to like point out of your skull very slightly, and the candle, because that was another miss, the candle that you brought with you inside, it starts to erupt in flames. But it's not just the top of the candle; it's the whole object that is wreathed in golden and blue flames. What are you going to do now? By the way, Benjamin, you can hear your friend's screams from inside of the structure, but you might not be done with your conversation yet. So we're going to cut back to you, Benjamin.
Okay. I am going to now say, ask Sophia what her beef is with.
All right, so she tells you, I had a vision where I had a dream where his hand were smeared with blood and he was laughing maniacally, and I started investigating, and it turns out that he's been like using his power to punish anyone who's had dealing to make people disappear, to make anyone who's make dealings with Raziel completely vanish, and that includes some people that I know, some mages that I'm friends with.
Okay. Well, that sounds like he's stirring up a whole lot of trouble. And I think maybe here is where we hear the interruption.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. I was thinking exactly the same thing. That's when you hear the horrible scream coming from inside. But there's 2 of Shepard's followers blocking the door. For you to, so you can't get in right now unless if you're triggering a move. So what do you do?
I think I am going to bellow at them, police, make a hole, and like draw my gun.
Okay. I think you're trying to persuade them.
Yeah.
Since you're being threatening about it. So go ahead and roll plus heart. That is a partial success. On a hit, they do what you ask, but they modify the terms or demand a debt. They're going to modify the terms. All right. One of them steps to the side, but the other one stands his ground in the middle of the door, and he says, "You can't come in this place of peace with a weapon." and he's willing to let you in if you hand over your gun.
I think I'm not willing to take that terms, so I think I'm going to try and bowl him over.
Okay, so you're unleashing an attack?
Yeah.
And I suppose since you're you're just trying to knock him out of the way. It's not. It's only superficial damage, right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Yeah.
Plus blood.
Since I'm not shooting him, this is likely to go badly for me.
Yes, it is. Okay. That is. It's time for one of my moves. Let's see. So you're pushed. You're pushed back, and you can't get in. You're unable to get past this these people. But there is suddenly you hear you see a shadow to the side of the street, hidden beneath a tree. There's a figure, sort of like a giant black bug. Is making a sign for you to step closer, and you feel like it would be able to help you if you just lend it a ear, but then it's your ear. But nobody else is noticing this thing, and it has this sort of weird laugh. And what do you do?
I think I'm going to go check it out.
Okay, you head towards it, and the creature says, "You want to get in? I can get you in."
I'd like to try and see if I know who this is or what it is.
Yeah, you're putting a name to a face.
Right.
Go ahead and roll for this.
You think this guy is likely somebody politically important?
It's your choice, but I think yes, he could be.
Yeah. Okay. I was
chance.
thinking probably too. I just wanted to double check, so I will make that move.
All right. So, what's your result?
So I got a 9.
Okay. So you know him, or you know them. They are a demon. You've met them a couple of times in your in some of your worst nightmares, and their name is Archimarch, and they're the ones that we've mentioned in the conflict earlier concerning the fact that they've been trying to corrupt you. Someone mentioned that a demon was trying to corrupt Benjamin, right? It wasn't Nicholas who was being corrupted?
Yeah, that's right. I have that as related to a debt.
Yeah. All right. So they're here, and they're present to get you to allow you inside if you so wish.
Okay, I'll take their bargain.
All right. So they say you'll owe me one, though. Yes.
Yeah, I'll owe them a debt.
Okay. So they start to move towards the back of the building, and as you arrive there, they transform into this swarm of spiders and get in through a crack in the wall, and then the door right next to that just opens, and when you step inside, there's no sign of Archimarch. But yeah, I'm writing down that you're in debt to a demon now. That was really easy. all I had to do was separate you from the other player characters for like 2 minutes.
Right.
Okay. You. Did you? Were you going to get something else based on your move for putting a face to a name?
Oh, that's right. So I know a dangerous secret about them and their political machinations. So I think I know that they are deadly enemies with Raziel.
Okay, yeah, they're competing for the city. That's exactly what I was going to suggest. So perfect.
I think they've been enemies for millennia. So this is just their latest theater of their conflict.
Okay. All right. You're now in the warehouse, and we cut back to Nick and Nicholas. You two. Nick, Nicholas, you're more or less safe right now. Like, the crowd isn't turned against you. The crowd is turned against your friend, who's been tainted by a demon and who's inside of the church right now. So, what do you do? Both of you.
Okay. What I do is...
Sorry, just one thing before this, because we mustn't forget. Benjamin, you mark wild.
Okay. It was already marked.
Okay, because when you make a move in regards to a faction, that's the way you gain experience points in this system. You've got to mark with as many people from different factions as possible. So sorry, back to Nicholas and Nick.
I actually get in front of them, next to Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And can I persuade them all, the crowd? What would that be?
You're trying to persuade an NPC, but I feel like you have to go through persuading John, because he's the one at the head of the crowd.
Okay, I turn to John and I say, look, and I explain the situation of Nick. Like, John, this is not a scoundrel, a devil in disguise. This is just a normal man fallen victim to the schemes of rage people. He's as much a victim as any of them, and I make my mission to help him get rid of awful God hate. And I point also to the point that aren't Christians supposed to be this kind of forgiving second chances?
All right. I suppose so. Go ahead and roll to persuade an NPC.
Yes. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Oh, okay. No, that's pretty good. You rolled an 11.
Okay.
On a hit, they do what you ask. John waves a hand and says, "Of course, anyone can be saved if they ask for redemption. That's what we're all about." And the crowd simply disperses as quickly as they had appeared, and they are going to get back to. John gets back to trying to heal Saladin, but he does tell you, Nick, that I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for wounds that have been inflicted in this fashion. It's a terrible shame, really, but I can't take away what God has given you. This pain will help you remember how your path to salvation.
Yes. And I ask John, like, give him the prime treatment, but if you can give me something for my leg, it would be helpful.
Yes. Okay. You had only more superficial harm?
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets healed anyways. It heals over time rather quickly. So like John is going to provide a couple of bandages and things like this, and you're going to be fine. And then he's going to move to Saladin, and Saladin is going to wake up soon. Benjamin, you arrive to see this, and I think right behind you, Sophia followed you. She snuck in behind you, and she asks, "How did you get in? How did you open the door? I tried it earlier; it was closed."
You probably don't want to know.
All right. Well, listen. I really think you shouldn't be getting involved in all of this. It's very dangerous business, and I know you have a gun and you think that it can help you solve any situation, but believe me, there's more at work here. I've been trying to keep you safe, and I've been trying to keep the people in your workforce safe, but please just let's leave. Let's not get involved deeper in this.
Something's going on in the force. Someone is trying to put power over us, and we're trying to keep the citizens safe. We can't. I can't neglect this.
What do you mean someone's trying to use power on you?
I'm referring to my little detachment being shut down. That the police, there's some manipulation going on within the police that's trying to get us to stop having influence over the supernatural world.
And so you see her. She has a short, relieved sigh, and then she says, "All right, but I don't know if you'll find answers here." And yeah, she's and behind this, behind you guys, the situation is getting resolved. They stopped the crowds. Shepard is accepting to heal Saladin now, and you hear Saladin groaning as he starts to wake up. So, Benjamin, are you going to join the rest of the group? What are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe at this point I will allow Sophia to talk me into leaving.
Okay.
I don't know, and maybe we should cut to the others to see what's going on with them, and I'll figure out if I'm staying connected or not.
All right. I'm going to use the hold that Sophia has on you to ask a question now. Just give me 1 second. All right. Yeah. How can I get your character to stay far away from John Shepard?
I think the answer to that is to tell me what you know about him, like everything you know about him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. She understands this, and she tells you if we. All right. I know that he's been manipulating what's it called? The Night Faction to do his dirty business for him and make people disappear. and I know that he's not going to stop his destructive war until everyone who has any ties to like any infernal influence is dead. He might look like he just spared those two, but he's just delaying the time when his mob is going to murder them. It's just a matter of months.
Okay. Let's pull out of here and see if we can find someone else to give us some ideas of what to do next.
All right. So Saladin is waking up. What are Nicholas and Nick going to do?
I go to Saladin and I ask first how he's doing, because I'm a friendly guy like that, and second of all, more importantly, Saladin, what happened?
Well, first, I have this massive headache, and I'm afraid I'm starting to feel like my canines might have, like my some of my teeth might have grown a little bit. I'm afraid I shouldn't get bitten by vampires this much, but those thugs, those vampires, they just came in and started wrecking the place. I think they were after me. I just couldn't figure out why. Took care of them, and when I heard footsteps coming of more people, and since I was wounded, I transformed into a lamp. Thank you for getting me some help, old bloke. Well, young bloke.
Yes. What makes me a little bit, what I think is a bit weird, is that you disguise yourself even for me as I was supposed to be there. So what's that all about?
To be honest, I'd been hit pretty hard, and I was having trouble seeing that it was you. You know, I always cast a spell to pierce illusions on that people put on themselves before I meet them, and you might have been you might have been possessed by a ghost, you might have been possessed by a demon, you might have been someone pretending to be you. So I wasn't in a state to be channeling, really.
Okay. You asked me to come over to give me some kind of you said you discovered something.
Yes, I discovered that the Knights faction, they're amassing power. The vampires and werewolves, they are making an alliance. They're about to cause a lot of trouble in the city, and I thought maybe I could get your help. In the meantime, what is Nick doing? Are you listening in on this conversation, or what are you?
Well,
No. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Is John Shepard still in the room?
He is. He is barely within earshot. But currently he seems to be praying, but not very loud, and he might be listening in on what's happening.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just leaning against something, alternately keeping an eye on Saladin and an eye on John Shepard, and just trying to be quiet.
Are you trying to figure them out, or just being on the lookout?
I'm just I'm not actively trying to read them. No.
Okay.
Just
Can I?
keep an eye on their whereabouts.
All right. By the way, guys, remember that you can spend the debt that you have to get other players to help you out, to lend a hand, which can influence a roll that's just been rolled. You can, if they lend a hand, they can give you a +1 to help you. Or you can get other players to interfere with someone's roll. Or you can interfere yourselves and give them penalties after they've rolled.
Can I put a face on a name?
Concerning who?
The Knights faction.
Yeah, sure. So I think Saladin mentions Saladin mentions the name Kira. She's a specter, and she that's the name of the person who's supposed to be at the head of this group. And if you roll successfully, you'll get more information. And you can, and if you do that, you can mark the night faction.
Okay. I asked Nick to come over, and I'm saying I'm asking him if he's got more information about the Knights faction to help me roll with put a name on a face. So
okay. You can roll first, and maybe get all the players to help you with that roll later. So
yeah.
Roll plus night faction. Okay. So you didn't need any help.
No, I did mortality. Sorry, put a name on the face. So now I've rolled it.
Now you botched it. But even if he lent a hand, he wouldn't be able to. He wouldn't be able to tip that into a success. So okay. It's no use. That means I'm triggering a move. You hear this. All of you can hear the sound of a wolf howling in the distance, and then a second one that's a bit closer, and a third that seems to be outside of the church.
God damn it! They're here.
You know what? I think it's a great time to move back to Benjamin. Benjamin, you're outside, and you can see that bats starting to blacken the night sky, to cover the stars, and you can see a couple of wolves that are pacing towards the church. Some of them after having howled in the distance. What do you do?
Can I keep an eye out for trouble? Or is there not enough time here?
Yeah, you know what we. I don't think you'd have been able to like see this coming because the move just triggered just now.
Okay, and I just walked right into them.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to
by the way, I think Nicholas, you mark. I think you mark. You made a faction move, so you mark the knight faction.
Yeah, I marked it.
Okay, cool. This way, all right. So yeah, you're gaining experience and all that. So Benjamin, what do you do?
I think I am pulling out my phone and calling up somebody in my chain of command to say, "Hey, I may be getting in some trouble here."
All right. We're gonna say you call Natalia Peterson. It's she's on duty today, and so and so you should be able to answer calls from your task force. But that is going to require you to hit the streets, get some help, see if they are able to respond. So you can mark humanity. You can mark humanity and
hit the streets. Okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah. I guess it's hitting the streets. It feels. Oh wait, no. Does she have a debt? Did you have a?
No, I don't. I don't have a.
I have a debt to her. She doesn't have a debt to me.
Okay, so because maybe you'd be calling in a debt, but no, you miss. Like everybody from your task force is probably busy doing something that requires them to be away from their phones right now, and yeah, that was a pretty bad roll. So I trigger move. So a ghost appears in front of you. It's Kira, and she says nobody's going to come to help now. Get out of my way, or I'll I'm here for John Shepherd. And there's you feel something crawling up your face, and before you can react, there's a spider in your ear that is whispering, "Time to honor your debt. Attack her."
I think I want to refuse to honor that debt.
Okay, you're gonna have to roll for that.
I will.
Brave choice.
So what's the result?
So I just rolled a 9, a partial success. Can I call on my wife's debt to have her assist me? I don't know if you can have NPCs assist.
I don't think you can.
Okay.
Because the game master never makes a roll, and you need a roll to lend a hand.
Okay.
But you could get you could ask for Nick or Nicholas to help you out here. Because you could have a flashback of them like telling you how to resist demonic influence, for example.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that with Nicholas owes me several debts, so I will cash in one of those.
Wait for practicality. You're standing outside. Oh, did I tell you about it?
Yeah, earlier. We can just say it happened in a flashback. Okay, so you're going to have to make the roll to lend a hand real soon. Just before this, Benjamin, where was this? When was this? And I'll have Nicholas or Nick describe what happened, and then we make the roll to see if the advice paid off.
Right. So one of the times when Nicholas came to me to tell me his secrets, one of those secrets was about a past encounter he had had with demonic influences and how he was able to avoid entanglements with them. And so that is...
When was this and how long ago?
It was not very long ago, only maybe a month or so that he came to me about this, that we had this conversation. So it is fresh in my mind.
Okay.
And
where? Describe the flashback a little bit.
Okay. So I had just come off of my shift. This was just before the task force got redistributed and scattered. So I was still working officially as investigating the supernatural for the city, and I had just finished my shift, and Nicholas was waiting outside the station for me. And so as I was making my way to the car, there he was.
All right. You can you can make the roll to lend a hand now and describe how well you were doing, Nicholas.
Where do I do that? I see. And the hand.
Yeah.
With wild, eh?
It would be with mortality.
Yes.
Sorry.
And then you can mark mortality after.
Yes. So, do I roll again? Because I didn't
Yes.
put mortality. Sorry.
Yes. Doesn't matter. Okay, so what was the horrible advice that you gave him that ended up not working?
The horrible advice. Okay. I told him that in one of my in the dealing with that specific demon, it all came down to technicalities. It was like a demon with all of these kind of. If it wasn't said as much when this debt was going to be collected, it cannot be. It can only be triggered in a kind of. It has to be offered, like in this kind of sense. So it's kind of a sort of lawyery thing. If the conditions aren't right for the debt to be in, the demon cannot do anything to you.
Yeah. All right. So since it's a 7 or a 9, to your refuse to honor a debt, you have to choose one. You owe them an additional debt. You lose face with your faction, or you mark corruption.
I will mark corruption.
Right. You get really tempted to give in. Yes.
Right, and the words from Nicholas totally did not apply here. This is a not the legalistic kind of debt that he was describing me. This is just a moral obligation that has some force behind it. But
yeah,
I had rolled pretty well, so it didn't get me away clean. But I'm still not. I still feel like I owe that debt. It just isn't gone. I'm just not doing it right now.
All right. Yeah. So you're not attacking Kira, but what do you tell her?
Saying, I'm out of your way. But
she strides forward, and that you can see that Sophia is somewhat half in her way, but Kira just floats through her and towards the church, followed by the bats and the wolves, who start to take human shapes. Inside, Nick and Nicholas, you've been you heard the approaching members of the faction, and and you hear the Nick. You hear the voice of an angry vampire saying, "I can smell the winged guy that we had to deal with earlier. He's here." And a couple of them are cheering because they're going to get their revenge on you.
Okay. So, I have my 4 channels, 4 spells.
No, that was for the last scene. You lose them every scene when you need to channel again.
Okay, then I channel.
All right, go ahead and roll plus spirit. That is a 9. So you hold 3 and you choose one from the list below. You take -1 ongoing until you rest. You suffer 1 harm. or you mark corruption.
I'm more
Now,
corrupt.
you're in a church. It's like not necessarily the best time to mark corruption, but okay.
Yes, I suppose my grimoire is from not the kindest witch there ever lived. So my spells are really a little bit corrupting.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds good to me. All right, so the you channel your power. You get all of this magical energy inside of you, and you're ready to let it out. And meanwhile, John is giving a nice sermon to his people, and then he's telling them that they have nothing to fear because they will always be protected. But he's also talking about, like the parts of the Bible that are that can get people fanaticized, like any religious text, to get them to ready for battle. And since he has a very American view of solving problems, guns are handed out to his followers. Because he's American in Berlin, and we're playing in Berlin. So, what are your characters going to? What is Nick DeVere doing, for example?
I am grabbing Suleiman and standing him on his feet and saying, "All right, it's time to leave."
Who do you grab?
Okay. Saladin says.
Saladin.
Saladin.
Yeah. He says, "You don't have to tell me twice, and let's go." So, because the building is surrounded, if you want to leave, you're going to have to escape a situation.
Okay.
Normally, you need an opportunity to do this. It doesn't matter. You completely missed.
Can I get some assistance?
I can give some assistance.
Okay.
You'd need multiple assistances to succeed, though. 5 is hard to fix.
Yeah. So I'm looking for one from Nicholas, and I'm cashing in a debt with Saladin to get him to assist me. We decided you can't do that with an NPC.
Okay, hold on. I gotta check this real quick. The debt moves. Blah blah blah. Cash in a debt. Oh yeah, you can cash in a debt to make an NPC answer a question honestly about their faction, introduce you to give you a worthy and useful gift without cost, erase the debt they hold on someone, give you a debt they have on someone else, give you +3 to persuade them. Yeah, no, you can't cash in a debt to get someone to give you a +1. You would need to you try to escape, and you try to escape through the back door, and there aren't creatures of the night there yet. There aren't what are they called? Vampires and werewolves. But you trip on something that looks like a black claw, like a giant insect just tripped you. But when you look back, there's nothing there. But because you tripped, you lose some precious time, and Saladin and Nick are now surrounded. There's actually just going to be one werewolf that is blocking your path. And Nicholas, were you also escaping?
I couldn't assist him. It was not helpful if I could have.
If you want, you can roll to assist him to give him a +1, but which would mean you'd be trying to escape with him. Yes. But if you do so, because he failed, you expose yourself to failing as well, and if you fail as well, you expose yourself to danger, which means you'd be in the same situation he's in. You'd be outside and facing like an angry werewolf.
Okay, I'm completely fine with that.
So you're outside. In fact, you're in a spot from which Benjamin can see you.
But I lend a hand.
Hmm?
I lend a hand. So I know that was 1+1 advantage.
Yeah, it was
Right.
just a +1, so it couldn't allow anybody to escape the situation. You're still in the situation right now.
Yeah, but I can improve it a bit.
Yeah, the werewolf growls at you and turns back into a Tunisian-looking person who says, "Nobody gets out. Get back inside until we're done. Until we're done with our business with Shepherd." And then a vampire steps out from the shadows and looks at Nick and says, "We have not only you're not leaving, but we also have unfinished business with you."
Okay. I do elementalism.
Okay. So describe this. Can you describe this for us, please?
Yes. I raise my hands and winds begin to howl and grow stronger around us and seems to focus around my hand. And then I have to unleash an attack.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll to unleash an attack. Wow. Okay. Well, the first part of the game was going really well, but right now you guys are in a lot of trouble. So basic moves, unleash and attack. Yeah. You start to throw fire at the. Wind.
Really wind.
All right. Towards the vampire, and the vampire moves faster than you can see, and suddenly has their hands around your neck and is slamming you against the wall of the warehouse, which makes a metallic banging sound, and you're going to take 2 harm from this, but you don't hit them.
That's faint and grievous. That's grievous harm.
Yes, that's right. And you can write down that that grievous harm is vampire claws on your neck. Okay, who wants to try their hand at making a roll now? I'm feeling lucky.
Simon, can I ask one thing? I have still some spells left.
Yes.
Can I teleport?
Yes.
I teleport to Simon. I teleport the hell out of that grip.
Okay, yeah, you get out of this of the tightening grip. Good, because I was about to bite you the next time somebody failed a roll.
Does he need to roll to escape for that?
No, because he's not. He's only teleporting. He's not. He's only teleporting a short distance, so he's still within the situation.
I see.
It's not.
It's just escaping the grip.
Exactly. In fact, like that could spending those points could be getting the opportunity that's necessary to roll escape a situation. You need to have an opportunity to escape in order to be able to activate the move in the first place. The previous time I let you roll for that was because the vampire the knight faction is coming here for someone that is not you. But now. But now that you filled that first thing, they want everyone to stay here. So, yeah. All right. Who wants to make a roll now?
I am going to assume my demonic form again.
Okay. Roll for that plus blood. the demons are winning today. Okay, so on a 10 plus, you choose 2. Yeah, so gain armor, heal 2 harm, inflict +1 harm, demonic weapon, and demonic movement. Is this a fighting situation, or is this a fleeing situation or healing situation?
First I'm going to mark corruption to choose an extra one.
Okay. Also, you're still trying to keep Saladin alive long enough to deliver him the message. So technically, you're still working a job for your patron.
Okay. I am going. So this time I close my eyes. The air shimmers around me. I open my eyes and they're flame again, and I grow horns. But this time, instead of giant feathery wings, my hands are wreathed in this smoky, sulfurous fire.
Okay.
As I have demonic weapons.
Okay.
And we'll go with 3 harm hand.
Okay.
I have to actually touch them to burn them. I will heal 2 harm.
Mm-hmm.
I will do +1 damage or +1 harm, and take 1 armor.
Okay, yeah, you're monstrously powerful right now. Okay. Your
Give the vampire a little smile.
Yeah, you're pretty intimidating, but unless you make a move to threaten them, they don't back off.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I just reach out and touch the vampire on the forehead with my hand.
So you are unleashing an attack.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll plus blood.
I'll assist on that. I'll lend a hand by pulling out my gun and opening fire.
Okay, that would technically be unleashing an attack, unless if you're like making a concentrated, unless if you're like only shooting to distract the vampire long enough to get Nick to make the proper attack.
Yeah, I'll shoot at the second guy. Was it a werewolf and a vampire that we had outside with us?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll shoot at the werewolf. Doesn't matter if I'm actually hitting him. I'm just trying to keep him out of the way. Out of the way.
So you're lending a hand then, yes? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Go ahead and roll for that. You roll with Nick's faction, which is wild.
Okay.
So that's a success. On a hit, you give them a +1, and you don't expose yourself to danger, entanglement, or cost. So perfect. So Nick, you're now at. It's as if you had rolled a 10. So you choose. You inflict terrible harm, or you take something from them.
I think as I touch him on the forehead with my finger, and he starts to feel the burn, I sort of twist my hand so that I'm cupping him under the chin, and I inflict terrible harm.
So that is. So let me get this straight. That is a total of 4 damage plus inflicting terrible harm. You just reduce that vampire to a pile of ash.
Yep.
Wow.
That's what I was going for.
Okay. And the werewolf howls and transforms into their like they're sort of like war form, like semi-human, beast that is towering over you, over some of you, but about as high as Nick's comet form. What do you do? Anybody can make a move now.
I unleash another elementalism.
Okay. So is it a cutting wind again?
No, this time it's they go lightning out of the sky kind of thing.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and roll to unleash terrible harm. Unleash an attack.
I did.
All right, that's an 8. So on a 7 or 9, you choose one from below as well. They inflict harm on you, or you find yourself in a bad spot.
I think I'm kind of focused when I'm doing my magic, so I would not pay attention to where I'm standing. I find myself in a bad spot.
Okay. I think you know what? I think what's going to happen is that you're teleported out of the way. You're like in the street now, and you use your lightning. You don't realize that that you can be seen by other by other werewolves and vampires who are doing the attack. So despite the fact that you're almost done with this fight here, you might have to flee from, or you might have to fight more people. How much harm do you do?
Wait.
Oh, you also you choose one. Do you inflict terrible harm, or do you take something from the werewolf?
I inflict terrible harm.
Okay, and how much damage do you do normally?
Normally, I'm seeing it 3 harm close.
Okay. So technically, you should have gotten close again to use the lightning. You couldn't have done it from such a distance. But we're going to say that.
The teleport is always a short distance within the scene you're in, so I'm not too far away.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you get close again, and you electrocute the werewolf. This back street is now filled with the smell of burnt canine hair and the whimpering of the werewolf who just took this damage. But reinforcements are on their way. From nearby, you hear the clanging of metal as Sophia has just lifted one of the city's access to the sewers, and is telling you to follow her quickly. She's giving you an opportunity to roll escape the situation, and all of you are either going to have to roll for it or lend a hand to be escaping as well.
I will roll for it.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
I will lend a hand to that, whether it helps or not.
Yeah, I'll lend a hand as well, I guess.
Okay, so both of you lend a hand. No, so that's not enough for a 10. In fact, that allows me to trigger something else. Okay, so escape the situation. Where is... Okay, I'm still going too far. My bad. Give me 1 second. Ah, yes, here we are. All right, on a 7 or 9, you choose 2. You suffer harm during your escape. That is going to be... Okay, so Nicholas, you're choosing for everyone because you're the one who rolled. You suffer harm during your escape. You end up in another dangerous situation. You leave something important behind. You owe someone a debt for your escape, and you give in to your base nature and mark corruption. Because everybody is lending a hand to try to change the outcome, everybody is exposed to the same consequences.
So I pick 2.
Yes.
So I might be going wild with this, but get some corruption.
Okay.
And owing that.
And okay. All right. So you're going to owe a debt to. I think. All right. So all of so I think
Sophia?
no,
No. Okay.
I'm not this nice. So you if is everyone okay with marking corruption as a result of this move? Just checking.
Yep.
Yeah.
I only heard one. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we said it at the same time.
We said it at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. So you so what happens is as you're running through the sewers, there's a you see a sort of giant black bug with too many limbs and way too many eyes that makes a sign for you to follow it in this very small tunnel. A small tunnel that is very hot and smells of sulfur, but you all hide in there, and the werewolves aren't able to track your scents through this passage. You find yourselves inside of a boiler room with with the creatures saying, "Well, it seems that you're all safe thanks to me."
I don't know this guy. Can I? So we're in the spot.
What? No, you're in the boiler room.
In the boiler room.
Yeah.
Can I also put a name onto a face, or do?
Sure. That would allow you to mark wild, and you'd be able to. I think you'd know different things based on who your character is. Yeah. So this is Archmark, and this particular demon is a rival to Raziel, and Archmark they have a penchant for being near dangerous situations and being able to help people out in the last second to get them deeply indebted to them, just like what happened. So they're now saying, this is something I saved your lives not because they have any worth, but because I think you could do something for me. Nick, your master, you can. He comes out to give you instructions. Yes.
I need to roll to recognize Archmark, or do I just recognize him?
You might. I don't think you've met him. You've met them before. So you go ahead and roll with put a name to a face. Faction wild. By the way, if any of you has marked enough factions to getting an advancement, please tell me what it is. It'd be nice to have that happen during the game at some point.
How many do you need?
You need to have marked every single faction.
Every single faction.
Yeah. So yeah, Nick, you also know Archmark.
Okay.
You have heard of him.
Yeah, I give him just a look.
Them.
Yeah, them. Yeah. I give them a look that's equal parts tired and disgusted, I think, and just say, look, if you want me to do you a favor, you're going to have to get in line, all right?
No, all I want is for you not to have to do any favors to Raziel ever again. I want no one to have to do any favors to Raziel ever again. You could be free from your debt to him. All you'd have to do is get him to come out at the right time and of the people here, all they have to do is help you murder him. Sophia is looking like she's going to refuse this offer, but on the other hand, she's waiting. She's turning to Benjamin to see if what Benjamin is Benjamin's decision is going to be. And Benjamin, you've already accumulated 2 debts to Archimarch, so.
So is he trying to call in a debt on
yes,
us?
Yes, he's calling a debt on you immediately after saving.
So I didn't does that. What is he doing?
Archimarch is calling in a debt for saving you, for getting you through inside of this smelly tunnel to throw people off of your scent. And trying to get you to kill his rival demon, Raziel.
So I think I'm going to, again, try to refuse to honor the debt, to not be called to do this right now.
Okay.
I don't know how well this is going to turn out with the... but we'll do it anyway.
Quick question.
Yes.
He's cashing in his debt with each of us. Are we each rolling separately if we want to refuse to honor the debt? Okay.
Yes. Okay. So Benjamin Lange has enough honor not to want to cash in a debt with a demon, but not enough honor to actually keep his promise to actually do something for the demon when the demon had been so nice and helpful earlier.
So does that mean I mark off that debt and don't have to honor it anymore, or does it just mean I don't have the complication? Okay.
No, on a hit, you weasel out of the current deal, but you still owe the debt.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You can't unmark the debt. You're going to have to do something for Archimarch at some point.
Eventually, just not right now.
I mean, like, it's not that bad going getting hired to kill a demon. It's never going to. It's not like it's as easy as it gets as far as owing debts to creatures like this.
Can I figure him out?
Sure. Maybe I shouldn't have been so enthusiastic when I said sure. Apparently you can't, unless if you get some help from someone who's better at figuring out demons, maybe.
They're always bad.
Nick?
Right.
Nick? I'll try, but...
It's up to you, because if you fail, you're in the danger. You expose yourself to some danger.
That's true. Nah, I'm not sticking my neck out for him.
Okay, thank you very much.
No hard feelings.
No.
In fact, any of you can interfere to give someone a -2 to their roll if need be. Okay. So yeah. So that's a fail, and Archimarch says is saying, it might look like you're in a position where you can refuse, but you're really not. You're not in the safest of places right now, and the heat is starting to get just a bit warmer. So Nicholas, you can't figure them out. It's probably because they don't have any human features. that you can analyze. What is Nick going to do?
I am weighing the pros and cons of this situation out loud. So I'm saying, on the one hand, there's an entity who literally owns my soul. On the other hand, there's a rival entity who doesn't have anything on me and wants me to stick my neck out to try and kill the person who, again, literally owns my soul. I didn't ask for your help. I didn't need your help, and I'm not helping you.
Okay, so roll to refuse to honor a debt. I guess that's one way to play the game, just refusing to honor debts all the time, but at some point it's going to come back to bite you in the ass, probably.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. Go ahead and go ahead and roll.
And I think it's a standard thing for my character being sort of detached from the supernatural. And there's a corruption move for the aware that lets you automatically do it by just marking corruption. So I may be headed that direction.
Makes sense. So partial success. You, Nick, if you do this, you owe them an additional debt. You lose face with your faction, or you mark corruption.
It would either be lose face with my faction because I'm not honoring a debt to a demon, or I would mark corruption because I'm sort of channeling my patron's power to defy this other demon. So
you choose.
I'll just mark corruption.
Okay.
I'm looking at those corruption moves, and some of them look fun.
All right, and Nicholas, you're also you're being called upon to honor your debt. Are you going to refuse as well? It'd be funny if out of the three of you, one of you failed to refuse to honor a debt.
I was not really planning on refusing that debt.
Okay. So you're okay with going on a hunt to kill the demon Rosia?
I say, well, I just make the promise. Well, if the opportunity comes and I can do it, well, we got ourselves a deal.
All right.
Is it making a deal with a powerful dark entity?
Yes, you mark corruption.
I thought so.
Because mages mark corruption when they make deals with dark entities.
Oh, that reminds me of I have a move.
What's your corruption move? Yes?
It's not my corruption move, it's my intimacy move. When you share a moment of intimacy, physical or emotional, with someone who is not mortal, mark corruption. Would that have triggered when I and Sophia and I had our sort of heart-to-heart conversation out in front of the church?
Technically, yes, I'd say. What would that have done?
It just says mark corruption.
That's it?
Yeah.
You just mark. Okay. Well, I guess
I get extra corruption.
Some people get
aware
nice
is
things.
all about getting sucked into corruption.
Yeah, some people get nice things when they trigger their intimacy moves.
Not me.
All right. So, okay. So, Nicholas, Archmark tells you, well, then you'd better stay around Nick. Nick is the one who's going to have to go and see Raziel at some point. And Nicholas, you are free to go. And the demon scuttles away. It starts to scuttle away through the what's it called? A tunnel. Through another tunnel. And they they turn back and say, as for the rest of you, once I'm done with Raziel, I'll be coming in to cash in the rest of the debts you owe me. And believe me, I'll be asking for something harder every time until you give in. And they keep moving away. The boiler starts to emit a high-pitched sound, and is emitting vapor. It looks like it's about to blow. That's because of the failure Nicholas had earlier. So what are you going to do?
I strongly suggest we leave.
Escape that situation.
Yeah, do we have an opportunity to escape, or?
We're in a boiler room. There must be a door. No one builds just a boiler room.
There, in fact, is no door. There are just two tunnels.
Okay, it's a magic
try and
boiler room. Sure.
Can I try and figure something out to examine the room?
Oh,
yeah, go ahead. You can investigate a place of power. You can figure something out. So, figure. Persuade an NPC. Figure someone out, and it's not figuring someone out. Yeah, no. Why would you be doing this at the boiler room, Benjamin? I'm confused.
Oh, I thought this was also applied to situations, but maybe I'm remembering a different game that has a move that's very similar.
It's read a Sitch and read a person from Apocalypse World.
That's probably it.
The system that inspired all of the other Powered by the Apocalypse Worlds systems.
Okay, so would this have to be investigate a place of power?
Yes, it would.
Okay, and this is with Wild faction?
Wild, yes.
Okay, I'm bad at that, but I'll do it anyway.
Possibly I should try.
It gets you to mark it. It gets you to mark this this faction, so closer to getting experience points. Faction moves. Investigate the place of power. You got an 8. Roll with the faction. On a hit, you see below the surface the reality underneath. Okay, so this boiler room is halfway between reality and hell. And it's about to show its more hellish and torturing side to all of you because you've angered the demon. And so I'm going to ask you one of you to roll escape a situation, because there are the tunnels you can crawl through them, either going back the way you came towards the werewolves, or forward to where Archmark went. Hint, there are no good answers here.
Simon, just a question. I guess my channeling, I don't have any channeling anymore?
You teleported and you used an elementalism twice, so I think you would still have 1.
Can I use element? We talked about this in Skype. What would freezing the boiler?
Yeah, sure. In this case, you're going to have to let it out. We haven't used that move yet, and I'm glad we get the opportunity. You're letting out your power to change the world around you.
Okay.
So, you roll plus spirit.
Yes. And I should mark corruption, I think.
Oh no! Actually, it would be closer to you keep your cool. You're able to use it's keep your cool. Actually, you roll plus spirit too.
So
as well.
The roll would be the same because I rolled let it out, and keep your cool, basically the same thing.
Okay. So the situation you're trying to avoid is you're trying to freeze the boilers so that nobody gets hurt by this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what it's going to cost you is you completely freeze it and you vanish. You to everyone else, you're not present in the same space anymore. But to everybody else, there's now a door in the room you're standing in. It's as if the doors. It's as if the room has moved away from hell. But Nicholas, you find yourself in a very large, dark plain surrounded by ice, and you're and all around you can hear whispers. All of them seem to be talking about you.
I try to listen what they say.
They're recounting your many sins and how you should be punished for them.
Well, whoa. Can I investigate a place of power? Could I mark power if I had someone,
Yes.
for example, Saladin, tell me about it?
Oh, you couldn't mark. No. You would be marking for wild because
Okay.
this place is related to the faction wild.
Okay, I investigate a place of power.
Okay. Okay. You see below the surface to the reality underneath. Basically, your magic has it's almost like a teleportation. You've because you were connected with your magic to the thing that was heating the place up, powering it. You got pulled in with it when it separated from reality. And you're now in a bad place.
Now I'm in a bad place.
Yeah. For everybody else, Nicholas just disappeared. What do you do?
I'm going to go to the door, and I want to keep an eye out for trouble outside the door and start trying to find my way back to the surface of the city.
Okay. Go ahead and roll to keep an eye out for trouble.
Okay, Snoop. All right, I hold 3. So definitely the first question is, what's my best way out?
You are, it would appear, in you're in Mitte, the central what's it called?
Downtown area.
The central downtown area of Berlin, and all around you there are very large. It's where the large business buildings are. The way out is simply through the exit door of the building you're in.
Oh, okay. We're in an actual building now, not
Yes.
like in the sewers again. Okay. So I'll ask, whose turf is this?
This place is usually used by the power faction, but the fact that you just came out of a place that's a place of power for another faction is intriguing, to say the least.
Okay,
You
and
have
I'll
a third one if you want to ask.
Right. I'll say, what here is the greatest danger to me? Or actually, maybe I'll hold that last one until we're further along and see if anything else comes up.
Okay. All right. What is Nick going to do? Nick, you still feel the presence of Nicholas very slightly. It's as if like there's an echo of Nicholas. What are you going to do?
I'm going to regret not taking the invocation move.
What's the implication move?
Invocation is it would be useful in this situation because oh no, it doesn't work that way. No, I'd be able to cash in a debt to appear in Nicholas's presence, which is not quite what I want to do, unfortunately. I thought it was cash in a debt for them to appear in your presence, but
Nick.
Let's see. I will roll to investigate a place of power in an attempt to figure out what happened to Nicholas.
I think you don't need to because you rolled earlier to investigate it. Like you have a deeper understanding of these things because you're tainted. So you know that his presence is almost all the way not here anymore, but you still feel a vague connection to between him and the boiler room. There might be a way to bring him back, but it's. There's going to be a cost involved. Either that, or he's going to need to use some of his magics.
Oh yeah, by the way, my corruption is full because I let it all out.
Okay. No, you didn't let it out.
Oh. No, I kept it cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, what do you do?
Honestly, I think what Nick would do is grab Saladin and take him to see Raziel.
Nick. Oh yeah, Nick, that's what you're doing. Okay, cool. You only needed to deliver a threat. You don't need to take him there, but you can do that anyways. Okay, go ahead.
I feel like the situation has escalated to the point where, yeah, that might be useful.
Okay. Saladin is not having it. He wants to go back home and he wants to lock his sanctum up and not have to deal with any of this anymore. Now that he's like out of harm's way.
Not even a thought for me. What a fucking bastard.
Actually, his friend is sort of stuck. So he starts chanting, and he's going to get Nick. He's going to get Nicholas back. At least he says he's going to try to do so.
Can I get the streets to make actually?
We can't hear you at all. You've got some loud background noise.
I hear it too.
You might need to mute your mic when you're not talking, but we can't hear you. Okay. Yeah, I think Nicholas is just got dragged to wherever his character is too. We're having trouble connecting. This is just like when the Mist was trying to stop the recording last time.
Oh, but Simon.
Yes.
Can I hit the streets to make some kind of mental connection with Saladin?
No, I think Okay, I think you're going to he's going to help you channel basically, and you're going to use a variant of your teleport spell to get back. But before you can, the things that are there they swarm towards you, and they start to claw at your body, and you're going to take one harm before you get back. And that's all that the we're going to end this we're going to say that you get back thanks to this and just resolve that part because it was getting a bit too complicated. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, Saladin is now turning to Nick and saying, "I'm not going with you."
Believe me, I don't particularly want to go either, but we both have to. This is not an option. This is happening, and I am cashing in my debt with him.
All right. What are you get? You're getting a +3 to persuade him then.
Yes.
Okay, then roll to persuade him.
+3, so a total of 4.
10. Nice. So that means on a hit they do what you ask.
That's
Okay.
actually
Yeah.
it's actually a 13, but it doesn't make a difference, or does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no exploding move in this game. All right. So he begrudgingly says, "Fine. What are we going to do there?"
We're going to have a little discussion about obligations and mutual interest. And maybe we'll find a way out of being manipulated by Archmark. That'd be a nice bonus, don't you think?
All right. Sophia is saying, "I'm also interested in meeting this Raziel since he seems to be a major problem for John Shepard."
I'm sure they would be perfectly happy to meet with you. They're very open to meeting new people.
Benjamin, what are you going to do upon learning that Sophia is optimistic about meeting with an actual real demon?
Oh, that sounds very bad. I totally don't want her to go do that. Let me think. I am going to try and persuade her not to go. No, you can't do that. That's not madness. Don't get involved with them if you can avoid it.
I'm just trying to stop the prediction that I had for this city from coming true. I just want to. I'm not going to make a pact or anything. I have more foresight than this. Foresight is what I'm all about. I just want to have a talk. You can roll to persuade if you still think that.
No, I guess I won't. I'll say, well, okay, then I'm going with you.
Can I turn to Saladin and say, it's all fine, but seeing that I saved you, can we pass my sanctum just to prepare some things? Or who should I persuade for that?
None of the NPCs are going to mind making a detour to your sanctum, so you can all go to your sanctum if none of the player characters are opposed to it.
I turn to Nick especially. Look, you know about the deal I just made, and about me helping you get out of your deal. Remember? Would you mind that I patch myself a bit up before going to your Arc Lord who might have some reason to have a grudge with me.
You can patch yourself up, that's fine, but I'm not gonna help you kill Raziel. That seems like a lose-lose for me.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm just going there to look some things up and patch myself up. Is that okay?
All right.
All right. So describe your sanctum move. Describe your sanctum.
My sanctum is actually just one of those for hire garage rental spaces.
Yeah. I used to live in Berlin. And when I left, I almost put all of my stuff in one of those. Yeah, you're like you're renting space. They have a bunch in towards the outside of Berlin.
Yes, it's there. It looks really poor, but I first disable the magical booby traps I have there.
Okay.
And I use my apothecary for patching myself up. So I should roll Sanctum, I guess.
Hold on, just before that, what are the aspects that you've selected for your sanctum? You've got to have 4 aspects. 4 features and 2 downsides. So,
a library of old tomes.
Okay.
Magical booby traps.
Okay.
I cannot see it really good. And a knowledgeable assistant. I was wondering, does it have to be a human?
No, not at all. It can be a homunculus. It can be any sort of creature.
Well, living close to it, it's kind of got a hole for it. Is a cat that some kind of a wild demon, some kind of sort of intelligent cat.
Okay, but like a manifested spirit or something.
Yes, it's a spirit. It walks around the neighborhood, but is there when I call it, and that's my knowledgeable assistant.
And there's the apothecary.
Yes, and the apothecary, and the other things that it attracts supernatural attention, and it claims many forms of volatile substances.
Okay, so it can blow up, and it attracts otherworldly attention. I think there's like crows with 3 eyes, just like spiraling around the place when you arrive, when all of you arrive there. So when you go into your sanctum to work on something, the master of ceremony tells you what it will take to complete your task. What are you working on?
Well, first, some kind of healing potion.
Okay. That's going to take you gathering some ingredients, and it's going to take you at least a couple of hours.
Can I make enough for everyone?
You can make like we're gonna say it has a short expiration date, so you can't have like healing potions that you can like chug in combat, but you can try to get everyone healed before you go anywhere. It's yes, so you'd have enough for everyone, but it will still take you a couple of hours.
Yes, I will. Yeah, that's with spirit, so I just roll it.
What?
With sanctum, do I have to roll with spirit? Yes.
No, there isn't exactly a roll with sanctum.
Okay. And
But in order to gather the ingredients, you're probably going to have to hit the streets.
Okay, hit the streets. I do power the local medicine people, the local black market for magical things.
Okay. I think Sophia like knows where that place is. So like all of you go to so you go and pick up some ingredients. Go ahead and
Hit the streets.
go ahead. Yeah, hit the street. Okay. What did you roll?
Where can I see it? Wait. I rolled hit the streets.
It's a 10. So, you get what you need. Name who you're going to, and roll with the faction. Who are you going to get this? Is it?
I'm going to.
Mm-hmm. It has to be someone from the power faction. So either Saladin, Sophia, or John Shepard, or another person who is as of yet unnamed. Saladin could provide some ingredients.
Well, I was thinking. Wait. Some kind of Indian woman who owns a sort of all-night apothecary. Her name is. Now, I was struggling for an Indian name. Just.
I've got I'm dropping a name generator website that I use pretty often in Skype if you need.
Yeah, I have in my head. It's like this kind of supermarket like structure.
Like a deli, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you know the right people, you can get to the back and get some other kind of stuff as well.
All right. So because you rolled a 10, so first of all you mark the power faction. Second of all, the price that you're going to have to pay to get this thing, you find all of the ingredients to make that potion. The price you're going to have to pay for this is you're asked to provide the remains of the burnt up remains of the candle that burned earlier that Saladin has been like taking around, and when this price is named, Saladin says, "All right, I'll give this away, but if I can't return at least the ashes to that demon, I sure hope we can take care of the demon before, because I don't want Raziel cashing in a debt that I've just sold the components to. All right."
So he needs the ashes. He needs the ashes of the candle.
That is traded against the ingredients. You make the potion, everybody gets healed up, so you can all remove the harm from your character sheets. And yes.
Can I also use my sanctum to put a name on the face of Raziel while it's brewing my potion?
You don't need to be using your sanctum for that. You just need to roll.
Okay.
With wild. And that is a miss unless somebody is helping you. You don't know anything about Raziel.
Okay. Fair enough.
But you still mark the wild. Okay. Now all of your characters are prepared. What are you? Okay. Let's see. Nick, what is the sinister place that you meet with Raziel at? Is it like the crumbling swimming pool called Bloob at the edge of Berlin? Is it in the middle of the woods at midnight? What sort of place is this?
I think it is actually in the private section of a nightclub whose owner is in Raziel's control, and it's a sort of reasonably fancy one, but there are a lot of unpleasant rumors floating around about it, like it's connected to organized crime or it's got something to do with human trafficking. No one's really sure.
All right.
They just get a bad feeling about it.
Alrighty. So you reach this nightclub. We're not going to name a Berlin-specific nightclub because we don't want to give them bad rep. Although Berlin is really well known throughout Europe for some of its clubs. Let's see. When you arrive, there is heavy security around the place, which might be a little bit of a problem since some of you have weapons.
As we get there, can I keep an eye out for trouble?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, that's not good.
No, that's a miss. So you okay.
It says on a miss, you find yourself in over your head. The MC will tell you why this is a bad spot.
Yeah, you know what? They hate you at this club because you caused trouble. What sort of problems did you or your task force cause here to put a target on your head?
I'm going to say that there was a killer who we tried to arrest here, and it did not go well. There was a lot of property damage, and we didn't get our man in the end.
Okay. So the giant woman who is the top what do you call people like this? The persons who are outside of a nightclub and who select who goes in and who doesn't.
Bouncer.
Bouncer. That's what. Yeah. The bouncer who is like 2 heads taller than you, like spots you getting near the club and gives you like the stare of, if you come talk to me, I will kill you. Yeah. In fact, as soon as you started arriving, she mentions that your group is coming to the rest of security. Okay. What are your characters going to do now?
Just one moment. I think the first thing you have to mark, was it already marked? Did it stay marked? So when we were making the other...
What? Are you talking about marking factions?
Yeah, the first faction really long ago when I was talking about the disappearances and the
Yes.
covering up. Did it stay?
No, it doesn't stay marked.
Okay.
It's like it stays marked until you've marked everything, and then it clears and you get an advancement. But then everything is cleared.
So it stayed marked if I marked it when Nick said I had to mark it to highlight it. It wasn't.
When you were told to highlight it, when somebody highlighted it, you marked it, okay, as if you had rolled with a faction move.
Okay, then I have marked everything.
So you unmark everything and you select an advancement. You can select something from your playbook. Feel free to do so at any point from here on out, and it can be an upgrade to make your character more powerful. So while you're selecting this, what are your characters doing?
I'm just dragging Saladin up to the nightclub entrance.
Is that Benjamin or Nicholas?
Nick.
Nick. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so you are okay. So the giant who's at the entrance. When you arrive, she says, "You know, the boss doesn't want us to bring business here. What is this?"
This is something that needs to be dealt with right away.
Okay, you're going to have to persuade her because the rules are the rules.
Okay.
Okay. You. All right. You're allowed in, but not your friends. That's only you and Saladin.
Okay.
Okay. So you step inside and you go towards the back room. The other players, you're going to be able to intervene at some point. It's just like we're cutting away from you.
Sure.
What does Raziel look like, Nick?
It depends on their mood, I think.
Okay.
Most of the time, they are an attractive person in slightly old-fashioned clothes, either a dress or a suit. It's interchangeable. And when they are feeling, when they want to put pressure on someone or intimidate someone, then just small horns grow out of their head. And when they're really angry, they go into a full-on sort of classic red-skinned, fiery-eyed, goat-legged demon.
Okay. So right now they are appearing as a human, like really with a really fancy purple suit. And when you arrive in there with Saladin, they say, "Ah, Nick, how's the writing going? How's your brother? Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting. My bad.
Right.
What is this?"
There have been developments.
Uh-huh. All right. How have things developed?
You've heard that John Shepard's in town?
It's hard not to hear his religious rambling from over here. So yes, I have.
He riled up a gang of vampires and sent them to give Saladin here a bad time.
He's going after people who are in debt to me. Classic.
And Archie
All right.
is interfering.
So he's starting to look redder in the face, and more. I was about to say more horny, but no, he's just his horns are pointing through, and he says, "How did you learn about Archimarch interfering? Tell me, because he doesn't usually show up except for when he's to the people he's interfering with." Someone.
A gang of werewolves and vampires showed up at John Shepard's place. We happened to be there. We made our way out through the sewers, Archmark decided to take a hand. We took a wrong turn, found ourselves in a room with him, and he tried to put some pressure on us.
I see. Well, it's nice that you're being truthful about this entire thing, and you've decided to stay loyal, have you?
It seems like my best option. It's not a good one. It's just not the worst.
I like your honesty. All right. Well, thank you. Now, why do you? Now that doesn't explain why you brought your job here. You know, if anything, having our dear Salahuddin here in more pressure because of the multiple dangers that he's facing currently is a very good is an extra way to get him to cover his debt quickly, right? And Salahuddin is just like looking down, and you see some sparks coming off from his hands, and he seems to be like trying not to do anything stupid. Meanwhile, outside, Benjamin and Benjamin, Sophia, and Nicholas. Sophia is talking about sneaking in through the back to meet this Raziel, and she actually starts to go towards. She's walking towards the back while you're having like whatever conversation you're having. What are your characters doing?
It kind of depends on me. It says here, take a move from another archetype.
Yes.
Does that mean any move?
Yes.
Can I take fairy magic?
Yes. Well, actually, it has to be a move. Yeah, fairy magic all by itself. You get fairy magic all by itself only unlocks the ability to get fairy magic, and then you'd need to choose. Wait, hold on, and choose two more. I
think you need the fairy powers too.
Yeah, the fairy powers aren't moves. That's the thing. They're not moves that you can select. You can select the other moves, like a dish best served now, in our blood, scales of justice, just not the fairy powers.
And the fairy magic, that doesn't give you the powers.
No, you need to be of the archetype Fae to be using them.
Okay, that makes more sense. Then I just take the +1 spirit.
Okay.
But what I'm doing is I channel.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll. And what are you planning to use your channeling on?
What? Veil.
That was keep your cool. That was with sorry, yes, that was with spirit. So I don't think anybody can help you channel unless if you're like sort of losing control because your thoughts are straying because everything that happened. Depends. Can Benjamin, do you have any ideas on how you want to lend a hand, and if you want to?
For his magic, I don't have a good idea of how I could help with that.
Okay.
So I think I won't.
So on a miss, you hold 1, but you cannot channel again this scene.
Okay. Then I will. I guess I will follow Sophia.
Okay. It felt like you had a plan, probably with the teleports, and that you could have made a great entrance, but right now you don't, like, your channeling is blocked, unfortunately. Okay. And what is Benjamin doing?
So I think I've been consulting my notes, and I want to put a face to a name to find another Night Faction character,
Okay.
sort of a rival to Kira,
Okay.
and I want to try and contact them.
What is the purpose of that?
I want to call in help to, like, because I know that if I go to this nightclub, I'm going to get in trouble.
I suggest you use your debts to get help instead of contracting more debts with people.
But I only have debts from PCs and my wife,
Really?
who's already...
Huh,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. My bad. All right. Yeah. You want to call in help? NPC. Okay. Go ahead and I don't necessarily know if that's like an option. Because.
And so my idea is I want to did your homework to, like, put a face to a name for a rival to Kira. And that might give me, if I get a 10 plus, I would get a debt from them, which I could then call in. But if I don't, then maybe I'll find something else interesting.
I don't. No, I don't think you'd be able to call in help like this. Like creating NPCs to be able to call to call them for help immediately seems like it doesn't seem like the game was created with that in mind. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, I'm not sure what I'd be able to get from them on hitting the streets, so it might be pretty limited.
Yeah. It seems like I'm setting up this scene so that there's like potential for you to resolve it with your characters. But if you start calling in for help, the scene might get a bit too easy or something, you know?
Okay, I was thinking I might just make it spiral outwards and get more characters involved.
Yeah, that makes sense. But because
I was also thinking that I want to get night marked, and so far we only have one NPC in that faction, and they are an enemy.
Yeah,
sort of unambiguously. So
true.
That's why I was hoping that we could bring in some more night characters.
Mm-hmm. Probably next game. You know, if there had been a next game, it would have been then that could have gotten explored. You know,
right? So I guess I'm not sure what to do because I don't want to go to the nightclub, but on the other hand, I want to follow Sophia. So that's why I was trying to call in backup to, be support. Also, I could actually have that be a real option if I completed my night faction, marked night faction, because then I could take the a move, which I could find the name of. Let me see. It is I brought friends. Which have somebody come and back me up in a dangerous situation. I need to cash in a debt, so I might not have that if I don't roll well on the homework.
Okay. Here's what I think. I think we've demonstrated the game pretty well, and it's starting to get sort of late. I say we end it real soon. I'm just gonna make a short description and then we end it. Is that fine with everybody else? With everyone?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I think as you're sneaking into the back, you find that there's somebody else who is trying to get into the back of the nightclub and who is just getting thrown back by the people at the front, and he crashes into the mud behind the club. And when he gets up, you see that it's John Shepherd, but he is quite pale and he has very long teeth now. and he looks at you and he and says, "What do you want?" And I say, "We." And I think it's a good time to end it here. We can stop.
Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload, and it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day everyone.